Per usual, learning on this channel is for educational purposes only and is not intended as financial advice. It's Wednesday. Let's take a look at some alts. As a reminder, you can trade an increasing number of alts on Kraken. Get yourself set up right with a Kraken Pro account using the link in the description of this video. We had JPOW come out and talk today. Not really much of anything. Dot plot, blah, blah, blah. I mean, not really much changed. Market seemed to like what he said. Alts didn't really move. BTC ETH didn't really move. I think the story for today is why are miners up today? Why is coin up today? And will alts follow? If you look at the alt charts, which we will look at on today's video, but if you look at those relative to Dell, to Total 2, they are typically and have been very correlated for whatever reason. Doesn't really matter why, but they've been very correlated. That sort of broke today. So either Coinbase is leading, which is where you need to be if you're bullish alts. If you're bullish alts, you absolutely need to say to yourself, okay, ETH's time will come. It's just a matter of waiting, watching coin blast off. Even Dell. Dell looks similar, but more bullish than ETH here. On dominance, we're still at 65-ish%. Nothing here is bearish on dominance. There's no expectation that alts are going to magically pull up and take over. Just a continuation of the trend. Really not much to say on dominance and not much to say on inverse dominance, which is Total 2 over BTC. Still in bear territory, still bearish. Yes, on any given day, any given alt can be plus or minus 50%. I think the alt people, they see the 2x potential on a green day, but then they kind of ignore the 2 to 5x downside that we've been seeing on alts. And it just, that's not a return profile where you want to live, really. When we're barely keeping up with 2x BTC on the upside, and the downside is amplified. So that's why you get charts like this. Just complete rolling over for months and months and months and months. Continues to be very much a Bitcoin story. Here's Total 2, which you'll notice is in the cloud here, unlike coin, which is up, 16 to 20% today. So either this will follow eventually. If you're bullish right now, that's what you have to believe. Or this is just going to continue to chop around. It's hard to be bullish on this in a vacuum. And this is the problem. Do you trade all these charts independently, or do you trade alts with the assumption that you've got some hidden knowledge here that they're eventually going to move? It's tough. If you're wrong, where are you wrong? Well, you don't want to make lower lows. I'll say that much. Maybe this is a falling wedge. That's the best I've got, but it's not yet above the cloud. We're seeing stablecoin issuance slowly tick higher. So there's certainly a bullish divergence here. We're seeing increasing amounts of stablecoin on decreasing prices. So signs point to this stuff should break up. It's just how long are you going to wait, and what prices are you going to wait for as a stop loss? Or are you just going to eat it? I think the issue is a lot of people just aren't trading alts. They're trading the latest flavor of the cycle stuff, like hype, or some of these Bitcoin Treasury IPOs, Circle, which we'll take a look at. But the hype chart, just not really much to say or do. It's like the dominance chart on Bitcoin, right? It just continues to go up and to the right. If you think for the cycle, this will continue, I don't think there's much to do. You buy the dips and you hold, and you pick some time point 3 to 6 months from now and say, okay, that's enough. I have a hard time believing that this will be around to the degree it is 6 to 12 months from now. Because I've been here for a minute and I've seen many versions of Hyperliquid pop up that no one talks about anymore, right? Like, these exchanges are kind of a dime a dozen where they get a lot of attention, a lot of hype, a big TAM, the use cases there, everything makes sense, et cetera, et cetera. And then for whatever reason, they just start losing market share. So this could break the mold, but just on technicals, it looks fine. There's probably a bear div up here. I would slap a trailing stop loss on this and call it a day and pick a time in the future where you think it makes more sense. But it's very hard to predict anything just looking at this, but it's clearly bullish on the cloud. Now here's coin today. I was hemming and hawing about coin doing anything last week. I still feel the same. On technicals, it's up. Do you want to be right or do you want to make money? The cloud gave it its blessing. It had some fundamental news based on stablecoin bill, JPM, base, stablecoin pilot, USDC collateral, blah, 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 right? There's been some news today. There's been some news with the Genius bill passing halfway in US Congress. So is that what today is? I don't know. But it's up. It's up a lot and looks a heck of a lot better than ETH. Looks a heck of a lot better than alts. Will this continues the question? I have no idea. But it is in bullish territory, unquestionably, and it has been. It's just my higher confidence play was getting to 268, and then we see what happens. So far, Consolidated broke up. I don't really have anything to say other than that. If you're confident that the business model is blah, 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 and will continue, then you're going to love this, right? But what do the technicals say here? I don't know much of anything other than it's bullish on trend again, right? But the issue is it's sort of been bullish on trend since 2024 at various time points and then just kind of goes nowhere. So maybe now is the difference maker. One would think, again, if you're bullish BTC, if you're bullish ETH, if you're bullish alts, you're going to love this chart because you're under the assumption that we're going to see mega continuation. I think that's just where you have to be mentally if you like coin at 300 up here. And the same can probably be said for Hood. Hood looks great. It continues to look great. Has given you cleaner signals. I'd argue better signals earlier. This was May breakout. It's still overbought-ish. Maybe a cup and handle on this as well. Looks fine. Looks fine for continuation. I think it's in post-IPO all-time highs soon, but it looks good. And again, if you think market-wide, there's a reason these charts look the way they do. Hood, even we'll throw Schwab in there. Schwab also looks excellent. It feels like that's where some of the market is right now. Instead of trading alts, they're trading companies that trade alts, right? And maybe eventually that's going to trickle down into alts themselves. The idea for Schwab being they're going to list alts eventually here, sometime this year. We can also look at coin relative to Hood. Has been a pretty ugly journey for Hood, but coin, but on a relative value basis. This is similar to the coin MSTR chart. Maybe something to watch as a falling wedge break up through the cloud here. If you're trading both, you're looking for some relative value play. And we also have CoreWeave, which continues. This isn't really crypto, but again, it's what are people trading right now that isn't altcoins? I think they're trading this stuff. It continues to push all-time highs. They're trading Circle for whatever reason, which is up 20 to 30%, whatever it is today, right? I don't understand it. I don't get it. I just don't get it. But it feels to me that's where the market is at right now. And I think you just have to acknowledge that and respect it and say, okay, it's not my time. Things are moving. It's like, when NVIDIA was moving before BTC was moving. It feels like that kind of environment for alts right now. And really just crypto generally. It just feels like it's not our time right now as Bitcoin's consolidating here at all-time highs. IWM is another chart that looks really good for bullish continuation. Had this multi-month pattern trying to break up, trying to hold the neckline. But this is a relative value story based on Mag7, Tech, SPY. Things that have moved up a lot already are starting to lag small caps a little bit. And again, if you're bullish on the alt train, you have to believe that story for alts relative to BTC here because the charts look horrific. And here's Dell. Relative to ETH, right? This is where you want to be. You want to be on the top of the consolidation. You want to be at resistance. You don't want to be at support. You really don't want to be at support. And when we look at ETH in a second at 2,500, I want to be bullish. I want to believe, okay? I want to believe. I'm there with you 100%. And if this stuff all starts breaking up, it's going to be hard for crypto not to break up. But this stuff just looks, it's tough. I'm bullish at 110 plus, 105, 108, and I'm bearish at 104. That's just the reality. Downside risk at 97. And the tough part is we've been ranging in this massive range. Is it a head and shoulders? Is it a diamond top? Is it a macro inverted head and shoulders? What's your time frame on that? How long is that going to last? Do we have all of July to figure it out? Do you want to sit in this and get chopped up the rest of June? Those are the questions I'm asking. Because looking at this alt column, this is Kraken desktop, by the way. Looking at this alt column, it is just blood red. The whole thing, right? The whole thing. So what are alts supposed to be doing here? If Bitcoin's down, alts should be down. That's what we tend to see, which again doesn't make sense why coin and miners and some of this other stuff is up a lot, but BTC crypto isn't following. So as a chart pattern person, as a breakout person, I like stuff at resistance. That's how it's always going to be. Some people are not going to like that because they're going to say, well, we're not going to break out. It's a fake out. I'd rather buy lows. If I'm buying lows, I'm buying a cloud support all the way down here. I do not like whatever is forming here. This isn't for me because clearly I'm just unable to read this well at the moment. But if we have this macro pattern where we have shoulder, head, shoulder, then sure. Maybe that takes all of June, July to figure out. I don't know. But I'm definitely more bullish on the expectation of continuation at 105 plus, 107, 108 plus, whatever it is, than here. So I'm going to have a hard time buying alts, period. I'm going to have a hard time buying coin, circle, all that stuff. It just doesn't make sense to me, but the market obviously doesn't agree with me, and that's okay. Here's ETH. ETH, like coin, like Dell, like IWM, has some combination of cup and handle, inverted head and shoulders, whatever. Don't come after me, chart pattern police, but this looks like it's trying to reconsolidate and trying to break up. The issue again, though, is you don't want to live down here at potential lower lows. You just don't. I'd feel much better about this at 2,700. I know that sounds like nothing, but when we're in this tight range for this period of time and we're still knocking on the door of support, doesn't look great. Cloud says it's okay. Cloud says it's fine. We're above the cloud. Much like coin, I was too bearish coin and it broke up. Fine, moved without me. I have a little bit of ETH here, but at some point you have to say, okay, I was wrong. Where am I going to be wrong? Sub 2,400. Not somewhere you want to be. And that's pretty close to this price. But I think you do have to play this with the expectation that it breaks up. And this is one of the only charts that looks like this in altcoinville, because everything else is kind of just doing a bunch of nothing. Ripple, below the cloud, not for me, I don't care. Whether or not this breaks down or whatever is kind of irrelevant at this point, because I like to live in bullish land above the cloud. So let it chop around for another month and a half. Doesn't really make any sense to me here. Sol has lost the cloud completely, failed its edge to edge, which is another thing to note on most of these charts, especially if you played them over the past month and a half, expecting that the laggards would move. They just haven't, right? This did not get to 195. It almost did, but it didn't. So why not? Is it pumped on funds, fire sailing everything every day? Is that what this is? Maybe. But the trend here is clearly not bullish. Not until we're back above cloud. Is this a downward channel? Is this a falling wedge? I don't know. Could be. It just looks like down chop. It looks like nothing. It looks like hot nothing on Solana at the moment. So yeah, I'm going to be more bullish at slightly higher prices and more bearish down here. That's just how it works. Sui is the same thing. Just complete puke and inability to hold any price since hitting 420. Just endless puke. It's hard to be bullish and stay bullish on that sort of thing when there's just a complete lack of buyers. It just looks like there's no bid on any of this stuff since May. This is ADA, below the cloud. Okay, next chart, right? Tau, below the cloud, just endless puke. Monero does its own thing, down a little bit since 420. I don't really have a comment there. Either way. Link, not bullish, below the cloud. Aave's holding up better than most. Maker also holding up okay. So if you're trading on trends solely, you're just watching the few coins that are actually holding up, because if you're under the assumption we are going to bounce, those coins probably do best. They're already setting up for continuation. So Aave looks okay here. AVEX does not. This looks horrific. LTC also below the cloud. Not where you want to be. You do not want to be making lower lows. That's not an expectation of random bullish continuation. There can be news. There can be fundamental reasons. But looking at the technicals, what does this tell you? It's just chop. It's just endless down chop. Caspa gave it all back and then some. It's just ugly. It's ugly, ugly, ugly. You don't need me to tell you that, obviously, but curve way down, FET down. All this stuff is just pointing lower, lower, lower. DOT looks ready for probably new all-time lows. Doesn't look good. Ondo, same deal. RWA, right? All these narratives that people attribute to anything. Link is my favorite because unquestionably DeFi would not be running to the degree it's running without something like Link. That doesn't matter for price. It just doesn't. That tells me, okay, something about the tokenomics don't make sense here. Something about the issuance, the inflation, something is clearly broken where the fundamentals of something so integral to DeFi, this is what you get, right? You get a price that's down over 50% still from the 2024 highs. Algo, same deal. Not where you want to be. You just don't want to be down here. This is what you want. This is what you want. The moment all these charts flip, and it will probably be all at once because that's what we always see. But when was this? This was election, right? Boom. Pays to watch this stuff, and it's brutal to see it just do nothing, right? It pays to sit out and wait, use some back-tested technicals that you like, and be ready to execute full size whatever when the time comes. But here, what looks good here? Nothing. Literally nothing. Say below. Even gold. I think gold still looks great. Gave back a lot. Some of the geopolitical stuff has quieted down, but this looks complete opposite of every single alt we've looked at, except hype, I guess. But this has just gone continuously higher, still consolidating around all-time highs. I think it looks fine. Tron moves different than most alts. Still looks okay above the daily cloud there. Render looks like everything else below. ENA, ugly. Ugly, ugly, ugly. Continues to move lower. And on most of these charts, there's some sort of head and shoulders fractal that you can pick out with your eye. You know, like, what is this, right? Not a bullish reversal pattern, I can tell you that. So if this continues, you would expect this to go lower. Maker on the daily, trying to curve up. I think this is a 3 to 6 month idea. Holding up better than almost everything. At least it's flat. At least it's not making lower lows, right? You can't say the same for TIA. This is TIA. Oh, TIA. Just continuous puke. Now at some point, I don't want people to take this the wrong way and start buying this stuff. You get not investment advice anyway, but at some point, money comes in and buys this stuff in mass, and you get an end to the puke. But it really hasn't been enough, right? You had a little bit of that in November, but it wasn't enough. So the puke continues. Rune gave it all back. STX gave it all back. Gave it all back in a very short amount of time. So yeah, I want to come out here. I want to be bullish this stuff just like the next person, but nothing looks good here. Maybe falling wedge on Atom. Near, ugly. Ray, also ugly. It's just easier to do nothing and watch it puke and maybe wait. Wait for a higher high. That's where my mind is at. HNT. All this stuff just looks real awful. Pith. Memes. Altcoin just isn't for me. Doge. What is that? 6 consecutive? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's working on its 8th daily red. When has that happened? Probably almost never. Back here it happened. Bunch of red candles. And it bounced eventually months later, right? So it's not like, oh, let's buy this dip. Bunch of red candles back here. So historically, you've got some time on Doge for something like this. Not above the cloud anyway. Pepe, puking below, maybe falling wedge, not able to maintain any low there. Just nothing is holding, right? Everything is getting sold off with a little bit of falling wedge. So if you're watching these as falling wedges, I would just set alerts. So I'm going to set an alert for 87. Call it a day. If it hits, I know what to do. If it doesn't, I stay out. Leave it alone. Bonk, ugly. Trump, unsurprisingly, continues to go lower. Popcat, downward channel, falling wedge, Mog, flat, ugly, Shib, ugly. So, you know, what is there here? Flow key, ugly. And then quickly, relative value, Sol BTC has not held anything like I thought it would. Unfortunate. Would love to see this try to bottom it again and try to make a higher high above 0015. ETH BTC, other than Maker BTC and PaxG, I guess, looks like it's trying, but it's got to hold these levels. It's either got to hold these levels now or just has to stay relatively flat-ish into July, because it's getting to the point where it's been bearish for so long that I'm willing to give it the benefit of the doubt if it starts to hold a level. It's a little early. We'll watch this for the next couple of weeks, obviously, and see what happens. But it's trying to bottom. Sure. Ripple. What is there that's a buy here in the cloud? Nothing, right? It's just endlessly dripping lower, lower, lower. LTC, same deal. This is it. That's it. There's nothing else to say. It's black and white. PaxG, not really a chart we're going to watch on the weekly anyway. Tron, maybe an inverted head and shoulders there. ADA, BTC, ugly. Ugly. Stellar still in a huge falling wedge. Dot, it's a new all-time low. It's got to be, yeah. Just ugly. Doge, gave back everything since August. Look at that thing. Eiffel Tower. Ugly. So not a lot of love out there for alts. And someone's probably going to tell me, I'm looking at these dino coins. You got to look at this fresh, hot stuff, flavor of the week stuff. That's harder to analyze just because it doesn't have enough data for me. I need like a daily chart with a year of data. Most of these are higher caps anyway, and a lot of that other stuff's going to be lower cap, more volatility. I think Maker BTC still looks fine personally. I'm not really worried about it. So overall, what is there out there? Kind of just ETH. ETH is like the last great hope here that maybe this is going to follow traditional markets, and then maybe alts are going to follow ETH. Maybe BTC is going to hold this range. I just don't have feelings one way or the other in a big way up here. But I will say it's bullish to see TradFi breaking up. That's what you want to see. That's what you'd rather see, obviously. That's all I have for this one. Give me a like, dislike, comment, share, subscribe, and happy trading.